Well, if you're headed up to Alaska to beat the heat, you might be surprised to find heat advisories. That's because the National Weather Service has issued the first ever alerts for the nation's 49th state, Alaska. Joining us today is Jason Laney. He's the warning coordination meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Fairbanks, Alaska. Jason, thank you for joining us today. How are things up in Fairbanks?
It's absolutely beautiful. You just showed it. It's got mostly clear skies, letting the sun in, something that we get. Things have turned green, the snow's all gone, and it's lovely and warm outside.
Oh, it sounds nice. So bring us up to speed on these first ever alerts. But you were kind of telling me a few different details with that. Just bring us up to speed.
Heat has become a big topic with the National Weather Service nationwide. There's been a lot of talk about different indices to use and when we should start alerting for heat and what have you. And I got up here to Alaska about a year ago, coming from the lower 48, where heat products were standard fare for us. And I looked around and I noticed, as the warning coordination meteorologist, we weren't issuing any heat products. The way we messaged heat was the way we messaged just about any type of nuisance weather, and that was a special weather statement. And so the good folks down at our Alaska region headquarters started talking to folks at national headquarters, and they gave us the okay to do this. So we got together as the three main National Weather Service offices here in Alaska, tried to put some thresholds as to when we could start this product. Lo and behold, today we're about to reach 85 degrees, which is our threshold here in Fairbanks. And as such, a couple of days ago, we pulled the trigger and issued the first ever heat advisory for the state of Alaska.
Yeah, I was going to ask you what kind of temperatures we're talking about, but you said, so that threshold, that trigger point, about 85?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and we're not basing it on overnight lows or what have you. And people get a little concerned about this, and they say, hey, 85 degrees is really not that warm. Well, when you consider 2.5 months ago, we were well below zero up in this area, and we'd had 6 months of snow on the ground. And the truth of the matter is, we're not built for heat up here in Alaska. We build, we construct for the cold, because that's where our real extremes come from. And the homes that we all live in, the buildings we all work in, are maintained to keep heat in. So if it gets too hot, it definitely gets too hot inside.
Yeah, so talk to me just a little bit about the pattern right now that's supporting this. Are we talking about a big ridge of high pressure?
Oh, absolutely. You've got one down in the lower 48. Things are ablaze down there as well. There are heat advisories in many different locations in the lower 48. And we've got something similar going on up here. It's just a big bubble of high pressure kind of set over us. It's why our skies are mostly clear and the sun is shining brightly. And I looked at this, and I'll talk science geek stuff for you a little bit. We're basically 2 sigma above normal, or the 2 sigma or 2 standard deviations above what this high pressure should be. That's not unusual for us. Just about every heat wave that comes through Alaska sees a high pressure like this. So I don't want folks to think that just because we issued this heat advisory that it's somehow hotter than it's ever been up here. This is standard fare for us. If you come to Alaska this time of the year, you better bring some shorts and some mosquito repellent as well, because we do get hot. Now we just have a better way of messaging it.
Yeah, no, that's great. I'll bring my bug spray. So Jason, I do a lot of forecasting for mountaineers, especially on Denali, Mount McKinley up there. 2 weeks ago, very few people were summiting. It was very cold. There was snow almost every single day, but it dovetails on what you told me, how the weather has shifted very quickly within the last 1 to 2 weeks.
It certainly has. We had a very cool spring, especially here in the interior. And for the mountains that are north of us, not the Alaska Range south, but the Brooks Range to the north, they were getting a lot of late season snow as well. So this warmth is taking place from right here in the central interior. That's where you find Fairbanks, north of Denali and north of Mount McKinley and north of the Alaska Range in general. But you go far enough north, there's still a ton of snow up on the mountains. Those areas are getting warm, and we had an incident happen just yesterday afternoon where the only highway that leads up to the North Slope, we call that the Dalton Highway, it actually washed out because the Sag River beside it started overflowing its banks, culverts failed, and it looks like that road's going to be out of commission for 2 to 3 days until they can get some repairs done.
No kidding. Wow. Well, Jason, we appreciate your time today. Jason Laney, the warning coordination meteorologist up there at the National Weather Service in Fairbanks. Thanks, Jason. Have a great day, my friend.